You don't have to be proud of me. I'm proud of me. That's exactly what I told the members of the Coveted Consultant coaching community during our quarterly review in Mexico just last week. Why do I say that? Because this moment in time has been a long time coming. Let me show you. This year, for the first time, the Coveted Consultant community met in person. We went to Tulum, Mexico, and had our quarterly review. Since it was the fourth quarter review, we chose to do it big. We used the fourth quarter not just to review the previous year, 2023, but also look forward into next year, 2024. The purpose of the retreat is to change our environment so we can change our minds. As consultants, we sell our thoughts for a living. It's really important to have the very best thoughts you can. As a business owner, you have to strategically plan for the next year. You need the very best thoughts you can. And sometimes you got to shake your brain a little bit, put yourself in a different mental state so you can have brand new thoughts. We had good conversations. We told stories. We laughed at jokes. We ate plenty of good food. We slept in to get restored. We jumped off of things. We tried to have every appropriate experience we could so that we could really have a good time. At the same time, it's important that this good energy create really good deliverables. And speaking of deliverables, let me show you what everybody walked away with at the end of this retreat. Everyone walked away with a set of these. In our community, we call these the North Star note cards, or simply the note cards. The elements are very straightforward. These are standard note cards you can buy anywhere. You've written on them by hand, and they are bound with a simple binder clip. However, the design of these note cards make them very, very powerful. They're used in the following way. You simply flip them to be reminded of and to reflect on your plans. These are strategic questions. These are planning questions that you answer for yourself. Questions like, how much money do I want to make? What kind of client do I want to serve? How much should I charge? What service is the actual best service for me to deliver? Do I have all of the support that I need to deliver that service? What size company do I actually want to run? What kind of behaviors do I need to have as a leader so that my company runs the way that I want it to run? And finally, what freedoms do I get as a result of doing all of this work? At the end of the day, what do I get to enjoy? All of those thoughts are neatly organized and held inside these cards. Perhaps you can see how powerful of a tool this can be, but this tool is only useful as it contains your very best thoughts. If you give good thoughts into the note cards will give you good thoughts back. In this community, we believe it's worth the effort to get these cards right. And we spend the time once per quarter to reflect specifically on these cards, to review and refine them so they stay relevant to us. Because the fourth quarter is so important, we chose to do this work in a very special place. So we went to Mexico and worked on our note cards. Now, the entire coaching community couldn't make it in person, and it was important to make sure that we had facilities set up for our in-person and virtual attendees. Some of the time was driven by me, talking, teaching, explaining. Some of the time was driven by others, sharing their experience, lessons learned, successes, and places of improvement. And some of the time was just spent writing. I took plenty of notes, and the community members took plenty of notes, because everybody's leaving with a note card deliverable. If a review like this is successful, you don't just leave with your note cards, you also leave with an immediate action step to take. That's not just true for the community members. That's true for me too. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback about the usefulness of the note cards. This is a very good macro, goal-setting, strategic planning type of tool. This feels good. The request made at the last retreat was for a planner or workbook as a companion to the note cards that would help them track the milestones toward those goals. The members started talking, I started writing, and the first version looked like this. Very much back of the napkin, scratch paper type outline, so I could understand what the entire workflow should be. Because again, this tool only makes sense if it connects with the note cards you already have. As a community, our dialogue around this felt pretty good. We take the next step. On the very next group coaching call, I showed the members this. This was my iPad-driven version of what I heard from them. I was laying out the workflow a bit more. I'm showing the members how the macro ideas from their note cards fit into a workbook, how those ideas are clearly displayed and then would be tracked one quarter at a time. We got good energy here, and so I took one more step. Here's what exists today, right now, for the members of the coaching community to use. It's an annual planning notebook. The first page makes space for 5-year planning. This is bucket list type of things way in the future, so to speak, you want to experience or come to life. Trey asked for this, so I wanted to make sure that we included it. Trey also asked for a 3-year version, just a little further in. What are some things that I might want along the way to those 5-year goals? We made space for that. I wanted to make sure that was also part of the flow. The core of the note cards focuses on annual planning. You may have heard the phrase that we overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do in a year. As a business coach, I think it's most powerful to focus on the year right in front of you and get the most out of those 12 months. So in those 12 months, what are you committed to? And this page makes space to see that very clearly. If you're going to meet these commitments, there are certain metrics you have to hit. A member of the community, her name is Elan, asked for this specifically. She wanted to see her entire year spelled out in advance. And so now she has that. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. You might notice these familiar categories: client acquisition, client service, client retention. So there are metrics Elan needs to hit every quarter of 2024. There are client acquisition metrics, client service metrics, and client retention metrics. Elan has KPIs now, key performance indicators, and she can see those indicators on a dashboard on one single sheet of paper. She knows what she has to do inside her business for it to grow at the pace she wants. Elan wanted these numbers in a one-page snapshot. As a business coach, I want to help you track them via the quarters. So for the first quarter of 2024, here are your metrics. And by the way, we are reviewing these metrics in March. Did you do what you were supposed to do in client acquisition? Did you do what you were supposed to do in client service? Did you do what you were supposed to do in client retention? Specifically, what are your results? Show yourself the KPIs. Show me as a business coach your APIs. Show the community your KPIs. Over here is a space for notes. Some of these things you'll knock out of the park. Great, let's celebrate those. Some of these things will need to be refined. Great, let's celebrate those. But now you can see them, and you can see this data in March of 2024, so you give yourself the remainder of the year to make improvements as necessary. As a business coach and leader of this environment, this particular page means a lot to me. I want to make sure everybody feels prepared to have this quarterly metrics conversation, and I want to make sure everybody knows what to do once they've seen these metrics in their business. But another community member, August, wanted to see something additional. She wanted to see her monthly activities. She wants to make sure that every month she knows what's most important, and every week she's doing the right thing. And so inside the planner, we have space for that. Because we all know things come up on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Sometimes you get distracted in a positive way or a not so positive way. But what's important is that you can see those distractions. If January has a surprise and an urgent thing comes up, that's fine. You have to address it. And now in February, you can respond and plan in the context of that new information. Just because something happened in January, that doesn't mean the whole year goes bust. You can get yourself back on track if you have a process to do so. And now this rhythm continues. You prepare for quarter number 2. By the way, our quarterly review is going to be in June of 2024. And in preparing for that quarterly review, you know that you have metrics to hit, KPIs to hit for client acquisition, for client service, and client retention. You're going to know what your results are, and you're going to know how to interpret the data in the notes section. The community can now be transparent with one another in order to have better conversations with one another about exactly what you did and what dialogue needs to exist as a result. And if necessary, you can remind yourself about the activities you took during the second quarter. Was April a great month? Was May a great month, but then June introduced some complexities? Or was April the complicated month and you were able to recover in May or June? The outline here gives you context for your quarterly conversations so you don't have to just remember what happened over the last 90 days. You have an elegant way of keeping track. The rhythm continues. We do it again in quarter 3. We do it again in quarter 4. And given how much fun we had in quarter 4 this year, we're probably going to be back in Mexico next year. And those in the community get to have this conversation with us. You don't have to be proud of me. I'm proud of me. As a business coach, I've worked very hard to create environments where my clients and community members can have their very best thoughts. Some of that's done through content, courses, and templates. And this year, we added an in-person retreat in Mexico. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what I've done to create space for this moment. I'm proud of my clients and community members for taking this kind of work seriously. And I'm proud of the new opportunities available because all of us are thinking in this forward way. Your brain determines the business you build. In our community, we appreciate that, so we spend specific time documenting our deliberate thoughts in an organized way. We call these the North Star note cards, or simply the note cards. And this is our core strategic planning mechanism. Whether you use this or something else, next year is coming. You owe it to yourself, your business, and those you serve to have the strongest thoughts possible. You've watched this video to the end. Take just a few seconds and give yourself 3 things you'd like to accomplish in 2024. Send yourself those thoughts in an email. If nothing else, you can come back to those thoughts a year from now and see how you've progressed. If you'd like to join this community in a process like this, I'll leave a next step in the description. Either route you take, I want you to be able to say next year, you don't have to be proud of me, because I'm proud of me. Talk to you soon.